Hello and welcome to another pattern recognition video. So we have advanced patterns today rated 1800 to 2000, and I'll try and do 5. Pause the video at any time if you need to think longer. So we have the black pieces, and it looks like white just jumped a knight in here, forking our queen and our rook and captured a pawn, I believe. And also the knight is protected by this bishop. So it looks kind of dangerous, but with black to move, what would you do here to turn the tide of the game? All right, take a look at this. Pause if you want to think longer. But if you're ready, we can go ahead and solve this one. Now, the first thing you want to do is look at checks, captures, and threats in that order because they're most forcing. And hopefully you would find the only check available. So here we go. We will sacrifice this rook here with a check on h1, forcing the king to capture. And then that will give us time to bring our queen up with check and then deliver a mate with queen to h2. So check, check, and mate. So a great little pattern there, and I actually had a similar position on the other side of the board, or maybe it was against black, and I had the white pieces, but I was playing a blitz game, and I was actually able to make a move like that. So a pretty satisfying pattern. All right, that was rated 1990. Let's move on to the second puzzle. Okay, the queen has just jumped forward here, threatening to capture with check. And the only thing that black could do is block, and then it will be mate once the queen captures here on f8. So we need to act in a hurry here. We need to do something. What can we do? Let's take a look here. All right, we want to look at checks first. So, if we check here, we would be captured, of course. We could check here, possibly. So, that's an option. We could check here, all with the queen. If we go here, we'll be captured by the rook. What else? Our rook could actually go there, and of course it would be captured. So maybe here or here, these both look promising. Checking with the queen from there. I'm thinking that maybe we check here, and because our rook is covering the squares on the e file, looks like the king would have to go in towards the corner. Then maybe we could check again. So check here, king would move here, then we check again. The king could go into the corner, and if he does that, we could deliver a back rank mate by sacrificing our queen here, and then the rook would deliver the mate. But what if we check here and the king goes here, and then we check again, and the king goes back to where he was here? Then we would have to, what? Check again. Oh, and then we could deliver the back rank mate. So, all right, so here we go. We're going to go, pause if you want to calculate it in your head. We're going to check. The king would run to here. We check again. If the king comes back to where he was, we check again, driving him back to g1, and then Oh, but we can't do the back rank mate, I don't think, because hmm because the king will be able to escape out to here once our rook checks. So let's take a better look at this. I think that messed up the whole sequence of the whole attack. All right, check still looks good. The king will move. We check again. If the king moves back to here, then what? All right, well, this one is a little difficult, a little more difficult than I thought. Check. King goes here. We check. The king goes back to where it was. Oh, and then our rook. Our rook is able to deliver a check here. So I think that'll do it. So check. King moves. We check again. If the king goes back to where it was, then our rook can deliver a check. And the queen will be forced to block, and then we check again. So here we go. Check, check, and he goes back in the corner anyway. So now we have an instructive back rank mate pattern where we sacrifice the queen and then back rank mate. All right, that was 1980 as well. So let's move on to problem number 3. Now I've had people ask about, what's my ELO? Well, right now, I don't know, it's around 1700 in rapid on chess.com. It's lower on the blitz games. I'm trying to get that rating up and trying different openings. But I don't know, I'm surprised at, I don't know. I've had some people get caught cheating, some of my opponents, and they've been banned. So I don't know how often that happens, where people are getting computer assistance, because I play some people that are like, 1,000 rated or lower, and they seem to be playing, at a lot tougher level than normal 1,000 players. So that kind of makes me suspicious. Anyway, I also, it's a little distracting when I'm trying to explain things in these problems while I'm solving them. So if I make some mistakes, that's part of the reason when I'm trying to explain everything. And then sometimes I don't want to give the answer away right away. That way, if there's any lower rated players, they have time to calculate and think things out before I give away the answer. But they can always pause the video. So let's move on here. Okay. So here it looks like, if we look at checks first as usual, that we have maybe a queen check here. We don't want to go here, we'll be captured. So we can go here, we don't want to go there, the knight will take us. So queen checks, the king can't run anywhere. Remember, when a king is under attack, there are 3 options: capture the attacker, block the attacker, or run. And if the king can't do any of those, it's a mate. So we deliver a check here. Now, if the knight blocks, we just capture and it's checkmate. So the knight will probably block by going here. And then we can add pressure to the pinned piece by going here. And then, I don't know, maybe this rook will move to give the Or no, maybe that doesn't work. So let's take another look at this. Check, knight blocks. We add to the pinned piece, threatening a mate in 1. And that should do it, I believe. Now, we have to watch out. Our opponent could deliver a check here. But I think we can just capture with our rook. Does that give our opponent time to do anything? So check, knight is forced to go here, bishop goes here. They capture, we capture, and that should be it. So check, we threaten a mate in 1. We just capture like that, and then it's a mate. All right, that was rated 1820. We have 2 more problems to go. So let's try problem number 4. Okay. If we look at the material, our opponent has the black pieces. They have a queen and a pawn. We have knight and bishop and pawn. So what can we do here? All right. Now, why did the queen just move back here? I guess it was worried about a fork. You know, if the queen would have stayed where it was. But let me make sure I'm looking at these pawns correctly. Looks like they could have just taken our knight. Is that correct? Anyway, it's our turn with the white pieces. What do we have here? Well, we have a check possible with the knight here. We don't want to go here with the knight, or the queen can just capture us. So if we deliver the check, what does the king do? The king can only go here or here, and that'll give our bishop time to get involved. All right. So check. The king goes here. The king goes to e1. Do we go there? Or do we just attack the queen immediately? You know, if we go here, attacking the queen, or maybe we have to move our king up and try some type of mate trap, but I don't know. I think we have to activate this bishop by going here if we attack. But we want to look at checks first. So I guess I better take a closer look at this knight check. So we deliver a check. That covers this square and this square. If the king goes here, then what? We can deliver a check, but then the king will move up the board. So I don't know if we have a good follow-up after that check, and that's important when you're trying to start an attack and you check the king. Make sure it's a good follow-up. Don't check just because you can. All right, so check. If the king, let's say the king goes, well, if he goes here, we can maybe bring our bishop here, threaten to pin the king to the queen. Something like that. If the king goes here, then what? We could deliver a check. But then what if the king keeps running? I don't know. This one is a little tricky. So, what if we attack the queen immediately? The queen could move up here and attack our knight. Or, if that is played, that wouldn't work because we could fork. So maybe that's what we have to do, is trap the queen. So attack the queen. Where can this queen go? Queen can't go there. We'll have a fork. Can't go here. It'll be captured. Could go here. But then what do we do? So if we move our knight here, or no, we're talking about attacking the queen immediately. So if we go there, the queen wouldn't move there. I'm looking at these pawns wrong, so it would be captured. All right, so maybe that's what we have to do, is move or target the queen. So bishop attacks the queen. We can't go along the G file. This would be a fork by the knight from here. If we go here, the knight will capture. If we go here, that would be another fork. And here the pawn would capture the queen. So what are our options? Maybe we go here. So if we move the queen here after the bishop attacks it, that can threaten to start attacking our king. So if we deliver a check to the king, so after bishop attacks, queen runs, if we go here, checking the king can go here, and that's it. And then what do we do? I don't know. I think I'm missing something here, and the video is going to drag out pretty long, so I better just go ahead and try and make the move that I think is right. But let me take a quick look at the immediate check. All right. What if the king goes here? The video will drag on too long, so I'll try that. Okay, that's what they wanted. Now if we just start attacking the king, if we go there, now we can check the king again, but what follow-up do we have? Oh, okay. All right. If we check the king by going here, The king can't go here or we'll fork king and queen with our knight. The king can't go here because the knight is covering that. Or here because of the king. Oh, and that'll be a mate? No, it won't be a mate, but then we'll be able to fork the king and queen by going here. All right. Yeah, that was just a little trickier there. I hope you did better than I did on that one. I thought that one was a little tougher. That was rated 1890. I think that was a little more difficult than some of the 1980 rated problems. All right, on to the final problem, number 5. Pawn is just pushed forward. It's attacking my knight, or our knight. Let's see what can be done about this. Okay. If we look at checks first. Now, something you might want to start with is count up material. We have 8 pawns. Our opponent has 8 pawns. We both have 2 minor pieces, a queen and a rook. So material's even, but our knight is under attack. We want to look at checks, captures, and threats in that order. What checks do we have? Well, our knight could go here or here, and in either spot it would be captured on both of these squares by the pawn or by the bishop. So the checks don't look very good there. We have a check here with a bishop. If that is played, remember when a king is in check, he can capture the attacker, block the attacker, or run from the attacker. And if that can't be done, it's a mate. So from here, the bishop could be captured, but then our opponent would give up their queen. So more likely, instead of capturing, he could block, but that would give up a rook. So he will probably run to here. But do we have a good follow-up? I don't know. I don't see a good follow-up after that. Okay, so I don't know if the checks work. If the checks don't work, we don't have anything unprotected that we can capture. This pawn's unprotected, but we can't go, we can't go after that, and our knight's under attack, so we probably have to deal with that unless we have a greater threat. So, if we look at threats, we could attack the queen. Queen could just retreat, and then this pawn would be under attack, but we have to deal with our knight first. So maybe, do we check? The king runs, and then we could attack the queen this way. And the only spot the queen could go to would be here. We could attack. So maybe we can trap the queen, and this is a more intricate trap. So check the king. Pause the video if you still need to figure things out and you want to calculate on your own before I start giving away too many answers. So check, king moves, we attack the queen. The queen can only go here, and then we attack the queen again with a pawn. But then the queen could go here. We attack the queen again with a pawn, and then it's trapped. Okay, here we go. Check, attack the queen, attack the queen, attack again, and it's trapped, so it takes a pawn out with it. You know, which if they would have calculated and realized that the queen was going to be trapped, they probably should have just taken a bishop out. You know, they could have grabbed the bishop with the queen, and then once we go after that, they could have taken our knight. So anyway, I hope you were able to figure that one out and that you did well on these puzzles. Hopefully you did better than I did on that, especially on that one with the knight and bishop versus the queen and king. All right. Well, as always, feel free to leave comments, like, and subscribe to support the channel. Thank you for watching and have a super chess day.